On June 28, 1914, a 19-year-old Bosnian Serb named Gavrilo Princip fired 2 shots on a street corner in Sarajevo. The first bullet struck Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary in the neck. The second struck his wife, Sophie, in the abdomen. Both were dead within the hour. Within 6 weeks, every major power in Europe was at war. Within 4 years, 20 million people were dead. For empires had collapsed. The map of the world had been redrawn. And the political forces that would dominate the 20th century, communism, fascism, American global power, had all been set in motion. World War I was the catastrophe that created the modern world. And nearly everything about it was avoidable. To understand how a single assassination turned into a global war, you need to understand Europe in 1914. The continent was divided into 2 alliance systems. On one side, the Triple Entente, Britain, France, and Russia. On the other, the Triple Alliance, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy. These alliances were supposed to keep peace. The logic was deterrence. If any country attacked, it would face not 1 enemy but 3. No rational leader would risk it. The problem was that alliances designed to prevent war also guaranteed that any small conflict would become a massive one. A local dispute between Serbia and Austria-Hungary activated a chain reaction that pulled in Russia, then Germany, then France, then Britain. In less than 6 weeks, every country had a mobilization plan. Once troops began moving, stopping was almost impossible, because any delay would mean your enemy got to the border first. The plans created their own momentum. By August 4, 1914, the war had begun. Nobody had wanted a world war. Everybody got one. The generals who led the armies into battle in 1914 expected a short war. The French expected to be in Berlin by Christmas. The Germans expected to crush France in 6 weeks through Belgium, the Schlieffen Plan, and then will east to face Russia. None of this happened. The Schlieffen Plan failed. The French army stopped the German advance at the Battle of the Marne in September 1914, just 30 miles from Paris. Both sides then tried to outflank each other northward, the so-called race to the sea, until the front lines stretched from the English Channel to Switzerland. And then it stopped. For 4 years. Trench warfare. The defining horror of World War I. The trenches stretched for 450 miles. Between them lay no man's land. A strip of churned earth, barbed wire, and corpses, usually between 100 and 300 yards wide. Machine guns made crossing no man's land suicidal. Artillery shells turned the battlefield into a moonscape of craters filled with mud, water, and the dead. At the Battle of the Somme in 1916, British forces attacked on the first day, July 1st, and suffered 57,000 casualties. In a single day, the battle lasted 5 months. The Allies gained 6 miles. At Verdun, also in 1916, the Germans launched an attack designed not to capture territory but simply to bleed France white, to kill so many French soldiers that France would sue for peace. The battle lasted 303 days. Combined casualties approached 700,000. Neither side gained